Mr. Kazmark, will you call the meeting to order, please?
Mayor, at this time, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council for March 4th, 2010 to order. On roll call, Council members Catamagna is absent. He is en route to the meeting. Council members Castiglia.
Here.
Chowinski.
Here.
Monsino.
Here.
Work. Here. Councilman Conboy is absent. Mayor Mola.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Will everyone please rise for our prayer and flag salute? Oh God, our Father, we ask you to bless our meeting, which we trust to your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and plant in a keen sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so our decisions will always please you and bring peace and happiness to our community. Amen. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws, State of New Jersey, requires that the commencement of each meeting is statement by the presiding officer. Now therefore be advised that the meeting requirements of this meeting have been met by publishing an annual notice in the Record of Hackensack and the Herald News of Woodland Park, and by posting such notice in the office of Borough Clerk, as well as in a public place within the municipal building, and by notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on January 1, 2010. Ladies and gentlemen, these meetings are videotaped, and they can be seen on Channel 77 on Wednesday at 2 p.m., Thursday at 1 p.m., and Friday at 11 a.m. If you wish to watch it on our our website, www.elmwoodparknj.us. And if there's anyone in the audience who has a cell phone, please turn it off and do not put it on the vibrate mode. Just turn it off for us. Okay? Thank you. Mr. Kazmark, Mr. Conboy just arrived.
So noted.
And also, you should all have a copy of your Waste Watchers book, which gives everybody a good, complete knowledge of most of the things that are important to you in town. And if you will, look at the book, and when you have a chance, page 13, it tells you snow removal tips. And up in the upper right-hand corner in bold print, it says, never throw snow in the road. So if you're shoveling your car out, you have a snow blower, turn it the other way, the snow blower, so it blows on your lawn, and don't shovel your car out by putting it in the street again, or you might be getting a ticket from one of our police officers. So please read that over about where you put the snow when there's a snowstorm. Thank you.
Mayor, this evening, under approval of minutes, we have the regular meeting of February 4th, 2010, executive session meeting of February 11th, 2010, regular meeting of February 18th, 2010, and the executive session meeting of February 18th, 2010.
May I have a motion to review all of them unless you've missed one of them? Motion, please.
See, I missed the fourth.
Okay, then you'll abstain on the fourth. We have a motion by Mr. Boncino to approve all the minutes. Second by Mr.
Castiglia.
Castiglia. I'm reading something else. Call the roll, please, and if you did miss one, just indicate you're abstaining on it.
On roll call, Councilmember Catamagna is absent. Councilmembers Castiglia.
Yes.
Chowinski.
Yes.
Monsino.
Yes, it's standing on the fourth.
Work.
Yes.
Conboy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, tonight under ordinances on second reading, we have Resolution 76-10, introduce ordinance 10-06 on second reading. Whereas public notice has been given by the Borough Clerk that an ordinance entitled an ordinance to amend the code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, they're entitled subdivision, to change that definition of a minor subdivision. Whereas the ordinance was introduced and passed at a meeting held on Thursday, February 18th, 2010, and that further consideration of this ordinance would be taken up at this meeting. And whereas all persons interested in said ordinance were given the opportunity to be heard concerning same. Now therefore be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that an ordinance entitled an ordinance to amend the code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, therefore entitled subdivision, to change the definition of a minor subdivision, pass on final reading. Mayor, I'm going to recommend to the council at this time they take action to table this ordinance for two reasons. One, we have not received recommendations and comments back from the planning board until they convene next week. And in addition to that, there was a advertising glitch on the part of the Bergen Record. This was not advertised within the required amount of days under the statute, so therefore I would recommend that the council table this ordinance and hear it on the 18th.
May I have a motion to table?
So moved.
Mr. Castiglia, second.
Second.
Mr. Work, call roll, please.
On a motion to table, council members Catamagna is absent. Castiglia?
Yes.
Chawinski?
Yes.
Poncino?
Yes.
Work?
Yes.
Conboy.
Yes.
Motion carries. Under resolutions this evening, on the consent agenda, we have Resolution 77-10, which is a resolution urging the state legislature to oppose Assembly Bill 437 and Senate Bill 82, which pertains to the time of decision rule. This has to do with applications before the planning and zoning boards in various municipalities. Resolution 78-10, urging the state legislature to pass legislation regarding reforms to the binding arbitration process. Resolution 79-10, to approve participation with the State of New Jersey Safe and Secure Communities Program. Resolution 80-10, authorize the release of an irrevocable standby letter of credit for Commerce Bank North TD Bank. Resolution 81-10, urging the state legislature to pass legislation allowing municipalities to withdraw from the civil service system. And Resolution 82-10, which is to refund the overpayment of taxes recommended by our tax collector.
Does that include the, we're going to do the other one, the new one we just got in, right?
Well,
May I have a motion?
that is it, Mayor. That's the one
The
that's,
last one?
that's the one that's a result of the tax sale.
Okay. Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Castiglia, second.
Second.
Mr. Boncino, discussion?
Yes, on the first one there, if we can have the borough attorney just elaborate on that time of decision rule. I didn't read that one, Brian, are you familiar with that? What we're
Yeah.
proposing there, or what the time change is?
Yeah, the time of decision rule as it currently stands is that if an ordinance is changed while an application is pending, the court can look at the latest ordinance, the one that's in effect as of the time that a matter goes to court.
Right.
There's legislation that's been proposed to change that so that you would be locked in. When somebody makes an application to either the planning board or the zoning board, the zoning that was in place at the time they made the application would be the zoning that applied to that project, no matter what happened afterwards.
And that's what we're going to oppose that, or we're going to,
Yeah, the league is very strongly opposed to that.
yeah, but then you get caught in the middle of a, halfway down the line of the project, and they can throw another ordinance at you, and
Well, it's not halfway down. It would be while an appeal or while an application was pending before one of the boards. And, that's a lot of times, in response to those, mayors and councils and governing bodies do actually change the ordinance because, it's something they didn't think about or it wasn't specifically
yeah,
prohibited.
well, it works both ways. We could stifle something too.
Right.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, any discussion? I would just like to comment on the binding arbitration. This is if the community, the council has negotiated with the police department and they haven't come to a resolution as to how their salary contract's going. They both can appeal for binding arbitration, which is an outside arbitrator who comes in. And these are a set of standards that the League of Municipality and other communities like to have. I think the most important thing is that the arbitrator should be required to evaluate and analyze the total cost of the salaries, which includes the benefits, including step increases, and must provide a detailed line item analysis and explanations of the cost of the award. That presently is not done. They usually just give you a 4%, and the 4% would include your longevity, your how much overtime you're getting, if it's borough, how much vacation days you get, holiday days you get, pension benefits. We'd like that all to be included so that we can get a more fair and equitable decision. I like the last whereas, which said arbitrators should be required to live in New Jersey. Usually in the last 5 or 6 times we've gone into arbitration when the arbitrator lives in New York State, he probably spends more of your money but his decision than the council does, and he doesn't even live in the state. So I think that's good, and I think all these other items, I think the council's going in the right direction, approving this, and hopefully we can get a more equitable decision from the arbitrator. Call the roll, please.
On roll call on the consent agenda, Councilmember Catamagna is absent. Councilmembers Castiglia,
Yes.
Chawinski,
I got one problem on 7710, I'm going to vote no on that, and the rest of them I'll vote yes. The decision, I don't agree with that.
Councilman Bonsino,
Yes.
Work,
Yes.
Conboy,
Yes.
motion carries. Mayor, tonight we do not have any applications or reports from the departments, as we'll be following tonight's meeting with the work meeting that was originally scheduled during the snowstorm last week.
Okay. Committee reports? Mr. Work?
Just an update on the Board of Health. Basically, Elmwood Park Board of Health still offering free clinics. The H1N1 free clinic is still being held. H1N1 vaccine is available for all ages 6 months and older. Children must be accompanied by a parent and guardian, and pregnant women must bring a note from their physician. There's no appointment, just walk in, no appointment is needed. The upcoming schedule for the H1N1 free vaccination clinics is March 16, 2010, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the clinic room. April 5th, 2010, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. in the courtroom. May 3rd, 2010, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. also in the courtroom. They also hold an adult consultation free clinic, and this is a health consultation with a registered nurse from Hackensack Hospital. It's held in a private clinic room in the municipal building. They also offer free blood pressure screening and confidential health information if any adults wish to go over that. And that's from adults from 18 years and older. Once again, it's a walk-in, no appointment is needed. And those dates are, it's held on every third Tuesday of the month, and that'll be March 6th. The upcoming ones are March 16, 2010, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., and May 18, 2010, 9 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. And the final free health clinic is the Child Health Clinic. And this offers free immunizations for infants up to 18 years old. They have to be residents of Elmwood Park. They do have a pediatrician and registered nurse on site, and these are for well children without health insurance coverage and those not enrolled in NJ Family Care. And those do require an appointment. You need to call area code 201-996-2038. And the upcoming dates for those, the Child Health Care Clinic is April 1st, 2010, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. That's a Thursday. And also on April 5th, 2010, 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. And then also May 6th, 2010, 9:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. And that's it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Conboy?
Thank you, Mayor. First, I just want to remind everybody who catches this on TV and those who may in the audience, please make sure you begin checking your child's backpack. A lot of information will be coming home shortly regarding some upcoming events at our rec center, the annual egg hunt, and followed right after that will be information regarding upcoming summer camp. Our recreation director is working hard to make sure we have another successful summer camp to continue from last year. So please make sure you check your backpack on all that information. An election year is a wonderful thing. If you saw the newspaper yesterday, our county executive, I guess, is looking for every vote he can squeeze. He's telling us he's going to reduce our open space tax. That's very nice, but I'd like to see him move a little quicker. We are working, you've heard us talk about it, and maybe I shouldn't say this when he gets back to him, but over a year ago, we started talking about our park over here. We were all working on it, our borough attorney's working on it, and I'd like to see some more progress. I hope this won't be something that will be decided, in October. We're working on our part, being diligent on it, and I'd like to see some more progress. I wasn't happy with some of the comments I heard recently from the Freeholder Board about when they think things will be happening, but I guess it's a great thing he's going to cut our open space tax, which we also use and have to put half up to get some projects done, but I hope that happens soon. On a financial front, myself and the CFO spoke twice this week, our town CFO. We're going to start ramping up some of the meetings with all the department heads, and we're working very hard there in that area to tackle some very serious financial issues coming up in the weeks ahead. So that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. If I can comment that the county executive has indicated he'd cut the open space from a penny to 3/4 of a penny. It used to be a half a cent with a sunset. They took the sunset away, and now they're charging us a penny. And as you all may know, our ratables increase each year as long as somebody's building, adding onto a house, or a new house goes up. So when they cut the 1 penny to 3/4 of a penny, you're not going to get a reduction. You're just not going to get the increase that they were looking for. So it'll probably stay around the same, and in fact, there may be an increase, a slight increase, even though it went down 1/4 of a cent, because our ratables may have gone up. I don't know how much the ratables have gone up.
See, it worked already, he tricked me.
He tricked everybody. Mr. Bonsino?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I guess first I'll start off relative to the New Jersey Sustainable Energy meeting activities. The NJSEM will be entering into a contract with Woodruff Energy on April 1st for the gas commodity, and we'll purchase gas from Woodruff at 88.4 cents per therm for 12 months, beginning April 1st. What that means is now Elmo Park will be purchasing the gas from the source to delivery to New Jersey for 88.4 cents a therm, constant price over the course of 12 months. So that'll protect us or insulate us from any price hikes going forward in the course of the year. So that was a successful part of the gas auction that the SEM did, and we will be proceeding with the electric bid in April. We're starting to collect the usage data for the 4 main locations in town, and I'll have more of an update once we start getting into the auction process. And again, I imagine that'll be in the April timeframe. I wanted to comment about, at the February 18th meeting, we passed an ordinance that updated the table of organization for the police department. And it's a very good ordinance, and it streamlines the management part of the organization while providing for a roster of police officers. In Community News, there was an article, and I was a little disturbed about the headline and the takeaway, at least when you read the article, it said, you come away with it that we're cutting our police force, and that is certainly not the case. What we're doing is we're trying to readjust the ratio of management to patrol officers, and what is going to shrink through attrition are the management ranks of the police department. So if I could go over it in detail, because it was inaccurate in the paper, right now we have 1 deputy chief, 2 captains, 4 lieutenants, and 6 sergeants. Through sunsetting of positions, we're going to move those management ranks to no deputy chief, 2 captains, 2 lieutenants, and 4 sergeants. And then we made a provision for patrol officers up to 31. So what we're going to try and do is manage the department, working closely with the police department, to a roster of 40, and not eliminate positions, but what we want to do is try and eliminate the management positions over time. So I think that's a very important point that was kind of lost in the article, and I just wanted to clarify that. And then finally, the ambulance corps, I mentioned in the last meeting, April 24th, they're having a fundraiser at the American Legion. It's a comedy night and beefsteak, and please turn out to support the ambulance corps. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Ketamani, I know you came in late, but...
I'm sorry I'm late, Mayor, unusual.
No,
I'm always late to school, but never to a council meeting. Listen, Mr. Messino, solar panel, we never talk about that anymore.
the what?
The solar panel.
Oh,
Is anything new and we apply for?
We're
Is
just
the
going
grants
through the
available?
energy- We just went through the energy audit. We're not going to, I'm not going to pursue putting a solar panel up because I think the payback is a little bit too long for the investment. That's my opinion. What I think we should do, and maybe I was thinking of talking with the science teachers at the school.
I did. I've been talking to him since last year.
Yeah.
I guess,
I think that would be a good project for a physics
kids,
class
yeah.
or a science class in school to start with.
Keith, my pen.
But I think here we'd have to probably do some more work first before we jump
because
into
many
that.
towns are turning to solar panels. Many of them,
I don't know that the payback's necessarily there, but
Put it in your ear.
You have data that shows that there's like a 2-year payback, or?
Right. Also,
Yeah, no? Do you have data? Payback data. Payback, return on investment, do you have? I mean, I've seen data, it's like 10 years plus.
right.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's a good investment.
And also, I attend the Board of Education meeting, and they were, I guess it was 2 of us here, we got pointed out, talking about the geese mitigation service, and I think we should discuss this again. Mr. Trominsky was there, and I guess maybe we should talk about it. We only offer a portion of the payment, and I think we should be paid a little bit more than that.
Okay, we
So
can
we
bring
should
it up
talk
at the
about
work
that.
session.
I think we'll pay by the goose.
The rest, I didn't have much to think about. I was going too fast.
Okay.
The cops are still chasing me, so.
We
Mr.
pay by the goose.
Chairman.
We'll pay by the goose.
Paid by the goose.
by the
Depends
goose.
on, no comment. Mr. Truinsky.
Yeah, on a note on that solar, though, I just wanted to mention that they have it's a company in Garfield, that I'm going to be putting one on my house, and I'm going to become a distributor for they're doing these windmills.
Wind turbines?
But they're turbines, and they look like, it's a new design blade. And what's good about that in the Northeast, they work on a 5-mile-an-hour wind, which means in the winter, in the middle of the night, that thing's producing electricity. Like over here, we're susceptible with our panels only certain times of the day. And you can say, well, the wind don't work with certain parts of the day too, but vice versa, I think you have more times when it's windy enough to operate these things. And they have all their patents, and there's a 70% rate of 70% rebate on these things coming up now. They're doing it for commercial buildings. If I get more data, I'll let you know, because the good part about it is the life expectancy on the blades is like 60, 70 years. And the generator is an earth magnet that floats totally, so there's no bearings or anything in it. Okay, another note. We have received the fire department budget, and they're on our backs to do something. But the other thing I want to bring up is we did receive today from Jiff a letter about from Hackensack Hospital, who's going to be doing the new physicals for the fire department. We've gotten rid of our other doctor, but we'll have to address that soon, because the fire department has a number of people trying to enlist right now. The mayor's going to love this freeholder meeting last night I was at. His famous park was in here. $48,800 to an architectural firm for professional services for construction of a new comfort station and upgrade expansion of the tennis courts at the famous Overpeck Park. $48,000 for architecture fees, guys. You guys got to get down there. The only one fighting for you down there right now is Mr. Hermanson on the Republican side. Otherwise, it's a disgrace. Here, another engineering, not to exceed $675,000. An engineering management company just to oversee the Court Street Bridge. This is what's, I'll leave the agenda again for the clerk here if anybody wants to see it. But I knew you'd like that, Mayor, Overpeck Park.
Overpeck Park, the county must be 60 years ago went into an agreement with Richfield Park, Leonia, and I think it was Teaneck to build a park up in that area. And none of us had any idea that it happened 60 years ago. So they came in, they won the court case, and we had to put the park up. There wasn't any definition as to how much the park had to cost and how big it had to be. And what happened is people start talking about Central Park West. I think it's like $80 million now that park cost, and about, I think $8 million is coming out of the Open Space Fund.
Right.
And they can't fix our park, but they can spend that kind of money for that park, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing, and I'm just wondering how many Bergen County residents going to be going there.
Right.
I mean, it's just so enormous, just so enormous. Yeah, so,
All right, two more things, Mayor, I have. Jack McGrath put an email out today thanking all the residents, whoever shoveled out the fire hydrants in front of their houses for the fire department. They appreciate that. If you can keep on doing that, it's a big help to them. The other thing about this, if you look at some of these line items in here, which one of the freeholders is asking the county to explain most of them. There's no details on these. Like, for instance, you have a purchase order. This is all you know when you go to this meeting. Commercial Interiors Direct, provide carpeting and window treatments, $51,992. For what? Nobody knows. But that's what I'm saying. This whole list, if you look at this, you'll see the millions of your dollars that are being spent here. So I recommend if you want to see something interesting, and being now that it's political season, it is getting kind of hairy down there with the Republicans and Democrats. And I think that's about it, Mayor, except for that.
Thank you.
I'll be attending the JIF annual safety meeting on the 24th at the Fiesta.
Good, thank you. Mr.
Keith, this is for you.
Castiglia?
Yes, Mayor. I'm going to talk about the DPW again.
That's for Keith.
I'd like to talk about the DPW and the snow removal. They've been doing a great job this year. Of course, everybody knows we had that long extended storm last week, the end of the week, Thursday, Friday. I worked Thursday, Friday, and Saturday on it. I got a call from our DPW Superintendent, Scott Cars, on Thursday about 6 or 7 in the evening. I work in Wyckoff, so it snowed all the way through. Down here, it seemed to be turning over to rain at that time. And they were having, everybody was out and it was slush basically that they were plowing. So superintendent made a decision to send everybody home at that time, get some rest and come back at 3 in the morning and take a fresh shot at it. And like everybody knows, it was an extended storm, and I think they did a terrific job. I have some statistics here. I got this report a little bit before the meeting. Maybe what a lot of people don't realize, oh, I lost one page already. What a lot of people don't realize, we got 52 miles of roads in town. The workforce, on the overtime on this last storm, the one for the 25th and the 26th of February, overtime cost us $4,800. We put down about 300 tons of salt. Now that came to about $19,000. These are expenses that you plan for, of course, but when they do come up, you know, it's for the safety of the roads, people passing through town. It's something that has to be done. Also, like I said, I lost one page of all that information, but,
It's on the back.
oh, okay, thanks. All right, we don't only do the 52 miles of roads, we have firehouses that we need to do. There's 4 firehouses. We do the parking lot for the ambulance corps, the apron lot. We do the library. Municipal building has 3 lots that gets plowed every time it snows. Of course, the police lot, the rec center lots, the park and rides, we have 2 in town, park and ride lots that the DPW plows also. Of course, their own lot down at the DPW yard. The pistol range for the police gets done. There's 10 sidewalks that they'll go out and do also, which need to be shoveled. And that's around all the parks, Birchwood, Rosemont, Elmwood, Cherry Hill, Galt, English Ave, Borough Field, that's a big one. Miles Street, Route 46 overpass, they do the Miles Street overpass, and Garden Drive. So it's not just the roads that get done. The DPW has a lot of responsibility when it snows. And I'm going to give them a call again and tell them I think they did a terrific job, and my thanks go out to them. I'm sure it's all the homeowners thank you also. And that's about it, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr.
Yes, sir.
Giblin?
Just to advise the council, Mayor, that I have been in communication with the county over the past several days about the Garfield Waterworks property and the fact that they are considering turning it over to us, and I believe that they are planning on holding a meeting. I'm not sure if they advertised for it yet, but I will give the council more information as soon as I get it.
Yeah, can I say something, Brian, on that note, last night at the freeholder meeting, the ex-county administrator, Robert, was there. Robert, I think Slau's name is. He grabbed me and said that they're going to put it on pretty soon for a work agenda for us.
Yeah, I've heard conflicting reports. I'm not sure if they were advertising the meeting or not.
Yeah.
The county has to hold one, and we have to hold one.
And they said they were going to call us in, too.
Yeah, so I'll be talking with the council about that later.
Thank you. I'd like to just piggyback onto something that Mr. Boncino indicated about the ordinance with the police department and their creation of department members and the table of organization. It was mentioned at the last meeting, and quite frankly, I've gotten a significant number of calls indicating this council did the right thing by changing this. And at that meeting, I indicated that we were going to save approximately $695,000 when these 6 areas or 5 areas would be eliminated. That's the good news. The bad news is we have a young force. I don't know when they're going to be leaving, okay? If the police chief, deputy chief leaves, we're not appointing one. If the lieutenant leaves, we're only going to have 2, so we have to wait. There was 4 now. We have to wait till 2 either move up or retire. Same thing with the sergeants. So that may be a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road. So when I said $700,000 we're going to save, by the time that happens, it may be more than $700,000. And the one thing I failed to mention at the last meeting is that these people also get $20,000 in benefits that we have to pay, so that's another $100,000. So when these 5 people leave, we'll be saving $800,000+, maybe closer to $900,000. And just as a background on that, some of this, the creation of a deputy chief happened in 2003, the end of 2003. We hadn't had a deputy chief for 25 years, and it was created by a different majority. And quite honestly, the last meeting to change it was held at 9 o'clock in the morning on December 31st. And that was such an outrage that they would hold a meeting to create that job and a couple of captain's positions. And then there was some more police hired, up to 45 police officers that were hired. And we just developed and ballooned into what we have now. We're going to pay for the next 3 years at least $800,000 a year. Once that's removed, it'll come down. But these are some of the unintended consequences. I remember when that meeting was held, we talked about $30,000, $40,000. That's all it was going to cost us. And then they hired more men. These jobs went up with salaries from the binding arbitration, 4%. If you're making $150,000 and it's 4%, you're getting about $6,000 a year. It's a sizable increase for everybody. So to the people who contacted me, thank you for your correspondence, and thank the council again for doing this. Took a long time to do it, but hopefully we'll get it back. And what the community has to stay vigilant on is the fact that if this council isn't here in the next 2, 3, 4 years, and another council comes in, they can change this again, and we can be right back where we were. So these unintended consequences, you think you know what you're doing, something else happens next year, the next year after that, and you've got a balloon of almost $900,000. So that's a very important item, and I do want to also piggyback again on what Mr. Castiglia indicated. Talk about unintended consequences. We put sidewalks in around most of the parks about 2 years ago. They didn't have sidewalks around some of the parks, which is a good thing. And the bad thing is now in the snowstorm, they're out there spending I don't know how many hours plowing and clearing the sidewalks. So I'm glad we have them. They're safer, but it's just another added item that the DPW has to do. And as Mr. Carr has mentioned, Mayor, just remember, you put sidewalks in, we have to do it. So that was good. And I do have to indicate that the county came a day late, or 2 days late, to do around their park, but they did get there and they did shovel that. Okay? At this point, I'd like the motion to open the public.
So moved.
Mr. Boncino, second.
Second.
Mr. Castiglia. If there's anyone in the public who wishes to speak, please come to the microphone, give us your name and address, and speak into the microphone, please, because when we review the tape, sometimes we couldn't hear the people. Anyone wish to speak? No one wish to speak? Yes, sir.
My name is Mike Stain. I live at 13 Lincoln Avenue.
Can you bend the microphone toward you, please? Thank you.
I live at 13 Lincoln Avenue. I have an issue on my block with car problems. I have a neighbor that lives at 6 Lincoln Avenue. He has 5 vehicles. Problem is, when I put my garbage out, they don't stay on the street side. They go on sidewalks. So the garbage man comes along, does not see my garbage. So I'm missing my garbage pickup. I'm missing my recyclable pickup. And this individual thinks he owns the street. He has 5 vehicles. Out of the 5 vehicles, only 2 of them get moved.
They're parked on the street all the time?
All the time. I've called the police. I have a report with them. He moves his car up, moves it back, and we're back to the same thing again. I'm not getting anywhere with him. They're constantly fighting each other back and forth. To the point, that's what brought me here. He's not doing anything to help me at all. He's got 5 vehicles. When snow comes, I have to go out to the street, okay, dig it out, from here to where that consulate is, I have to dig out my street to get my cars out because he's got cars parked there, and the snowplow can't move. So I have to dig the snowplow.
And the signs for no parking with the, when the street is snow
He
covered?
has one side where it says snowplow, get the cars off the street. So he puts everything on my side of the street, but he doesn't move his cars.
Okay.
So I have to dig myself out every time. My garbage, I put my garbage out, I get up in the morning and go to work. If I don't check it, the garbage man don't pick it up. So I spoke to the garbage guy, I said, if it's not out here, we're not gonna pick it up. We're not gonna go behind the cars and pick it up. Recyclable to garbage. Now I have loads of garbage for the next pickup. And I'm constantly fighting. Yes, I called the cops several times. And that's what brought me down here. He's got cars on the street with overdue inspection stickers. He doesn't do anything about it. That's what brought me here.
Well, I'm going to have Mr. Kazmark or Mr. Boncino. Yeah, Mr. Boncino is our police liaison. He'll talk to the chief about it, and we'll have our clerk also contact the chief.
I'm not the only neighbor that's complaining about
Okay.
it. The server, my windshield, when I happened to park my car out on the street, because I took his spot on my side of the street, he broke my windshield, but I couldn't prove it. So I get up the next morning to go to work. I got a crack in my windshield.
And
I can't prove it.
that's 7 Lincoln Avenue?
Yeah, but I can't prove it, so I have to let it go.
Yeah, yeah.
Mr.
The
Stady,
neighbors across the street, that car's are scratched up with the keys. And it's getting terrible over there to the point where, that's what brought me here. This guy doesn't want to understand that. He
Okay.
doesn't own the street.
Mr. Stady, this neighbor was at 6 Lincoln Ave?
6 Lincoln Avenue.
Okay.
Yeah.
When the meeting is over, will you just give our clerk your name again and your phone number so we can contact you?
Yes,
Okay?
thank you.
Thank you. If the cars are illegally parked, the police have to do something. If they're illegal on the road, they don't have...
They're legal on the road, but one of them's got a way overdue inspection, and he doesn't move it.
Okay.
We'll get to that.
Okay?
He's got in the garage,
We can't hear you on the tape, so...
he's got them in his driveway, but he doesn't move them either.
Okay.
And the thing that's annoying me, my garbage is not getting picked up. If he's coming across the street and moving my garbage can, he's not allowed to do that.
Right.
He does it in the middle of the night. While I'm sleeping, I get up to work the next morning. If I don't look to see my garbage, even my recycling, if I don't look for it, I'm gonna miss the pickup again.
Okay.
I'm asking for your help. okay?
We're going to try to do that.
I thank you.
So before you leave, the meeting's over, give you a name and address, phone number to Mr. Kazmark. Anyone else wish to be heard? If not, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Bocino. Second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Work. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? So ordered. We do have a work meeting after this, right?
Yes.
So if anybody wants to stay for that. Okay? Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, let me just indicate once more, if I may, before we cut it off. If you want, just tuned in, our meeting's on Channel 77, Wednesday at 2 o'clock, Thursday at 1 p.m., and Friday at 11 a.m., or on our website, www.elmwoodparknj.us. Thank you very much, and thanks for attending. And may I say, give my office a call or the clerk's office. Don't wait for the meetings. You can give us a call so we can handle it sooner. Okay?
Thank you.